Welcome to a brief introduction to Canvas for Judges to Esther. Canvas is the LMS, the learning management system that we'll be using in this course. When you log in, you'll come to this page, which is your home page. And notice at the bottom of the home page, you'll have three icons: Syllabus, Modules, and FAQ. By clicking on any one of these icons, you'll be able to access your syllabus, go to Modules, or open a fact sheet that will answer numerous questions you may have with regard to using Canvas as a student. Now notice up in the top left-hand corner, you have a navigation bar. From this navigation bar, you can access announcements, modules, grades, conferences, and syllabus. One note about syllabus: it's not what you would think. This link does not take you to a syllabus for the course. Rather, it takes you to a list of assignments. The word syllabus here is controlled by Canvas, and so I can't change it. I would call it something like schedule. But at any rate, clicking on syllabus here does give you access to a nice, concise schedule of assignments for the class. Now, our use of Canvas is modules driven. So let's go to modules. First of all, notice student orientation to Canvas. And here you'll have the video on the Canvas overview, as well as another place from which you can access the fact sheet for Canvas. Let's close that and go to discussion forums. There are two discussion forums. One is Ask the Professor, the other is Student to Student. Ask the Professor is the place where you can go to ask me questions about the course. Student to Student is a place where you can go to converse with each other. Let's click on Ask the Professor. Notice the green subscribe button. When you first go to Ask the Professor, this will not be green. Click on it to subscribe, and by doing so, any posts to this forum will go immediately to your email. That way you won't have to go in to Ask the Professor to see if anybody has posted. Going back to the modules, let's close discussion forums and go to course resources. Here you'll find a number of resources for the course. Notice, for example, lecture materials. You'll have access to the PowerPoint presentations for the lectures, lecture outlines, audio recordings of the lecture. Let me draw your attention to one other resource: communication protocols. Make sure you read this document. This will give you all the information you need for how to communicate with me and for what to expect in my responses to your communication. Now, just one note from the communication protocols. If you have general questions about the course, use Ask the Professor. But if you have private questions pertaining, for example, to your grade, then go to Inbox. And by clicking on Inbox, you will be able to have an internal communication system with just me as your professor. So let's close resources and go to discussion posts. Part of the online portion of this course will be your own study of the Book of Ruth and the Book of Esther. For each of those books, you will make an original post and you will reply to a webmate. When you want to post, for example, for the Book of Ruth, you'll click on Discussion Post 1, and the prompt is, what is the main theological point of Ruth, and what is at least one implication of this theology for Christian living? You'll post your answer here, and the syllabus gives you a rubric for what I will be looking for in this post. So going back to modules and down to the discussion post, you'll then reply to one of your webmates, and then you'll go to post 3 for your study of the Book of Esther. Closing discussion posts, we see exams. There will be an exam on the lectures from our first weekend together. That's exam 1. Then there'll be another exam on the lectures that you'll be watching via video as part of the online portion of the course. Each of these exams is objective, and you'll have 2 opportunities to take both of these exams. And one more, course completion. At course completion, you'll see a spot for uploading your history workbook, which the syllabus explains. And then there's a reading report quiz. I'll be giving you up to 10 points based on the amount of reading you complete in the Van Pelt Introduction to the Old Testament. And then there's exam 3, which is another exam covering the lectures from our second weekend together. Well, that's a brief introduction to Canvas. If you have any questions, use the Ask the Professor, and I'm looking forward to meeting you online and in class. May God bless you with success in this course.